Moving on to Resident Evil Afterlife. Okay, so like with Extinction, this is a mixed bag because the good stuff in this movie was good, let me tell you, but the bad stuff, oh man, that was just bad, yeah. So, best thing to do is to go into this movie, sequentially. So the beginning of the movie, like with the rest of the movie, it's a mixed bag because I am really glad that the beginning took care of the clones because they all attacked Stoker's facility. I just call him Glasses, even though I know his name was mentioned in Extinction and in future movies, but it was always at such a soft tone that I just call him Glasses. So, anyways, they attacked Glasses' facility. And while that did look spectacular, it dragged that scene on and on and on. Just this isn't supposed to be the main point of the movie. The main point is supposed to be what came after that. Now, thankfully, they did remove Alice's superpowers. Very good move, but I just felt like they could have done it a little bit quicker. And I also found it very odd that none of the clones were perturbed or disturbed by fighting against Glasses and his henchmen, with each other. Like, you're that accepting that you're a clone or a duplicate? What? Because the real Alice had to have ordered you to do this? Just how did the issue of clones, not having their moments of conscience come up? So that was annoying. And then even when we get to the real Alice past dealing with Glasses, I find that plane crash, her surviving that, kind of hard to believe. It still took a while for her to go find Claire and then go to what was formerly LA and get everything established with the main group of people for this movie, so that was annoying. Although I am glad that they brought Claire back, because I wasn't really expecting them to bring her back, albeit since they killed off Carlos and LJ and Jill was still written off, she was pretty much the only character that could be brought back into this series, and I was really impressed with what they did with the character here, because in the last movie, even though I did recognize I think her name's Ali Lanter, I've never heard her last name spoken out loud before, I recognized her immediately. I felt like her character was somewhat reduced, one of many, even though it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. But here, I felt like she got to shine in, quite a few moments, because, there's dealing with her amnesia, and then relearning her relation with Alice, and then her relation with Chris, which fans of the game would have been able to figure out, but obviously I was shocked to hear that twist, and then just how she was able to hold her own against the X-Men. That was really impressive, because at any second I'm like, okay, hey, this guy's going to totally overpower you. You're going to make a mistake or go beyond your abilities. But no, Claire was actually able to hold her own. And then just how she kept helping Alice out throughout the movie and the moments of closeness between those two. Just, that was real nice. It goes to show you can have a female character in here that's up to the same standards as Alice and works with her pretty well. I was really impressed by that, yeah. Yes, I shipped those two in case it wasn't obvious enough for you. Anyways. So Claire's reintroduction was good, and then the other characters that they had in here, even the more useless characters, I felt like they all mattered in here pretty well. I did suspect for the first time over the course of this entire franchise that, a couple of them would get killed, but even when they died, even though it was kind of stupid, it didn't feel as stupid as other stupid deaths that I've seen. Like, spoiler alert for Predator 1, you know how when Mac gets killed after seeing the Predator's, targeting thing on his arm here? Yeah, that was stupid, but the death of that Asian janitor guy, or I thought I had one other example. Well, anyways, Another example, that wasn't nearly as stupid, yeah. And then, like, that fight scene on the Arcadia, that was intense! Let me tell you, and then the way that, Alice and company were able to deal with glasses, and then the, stupid guy with the beard, I forget his name right now, that was very clever, and it was also nice to just chuckle at it, because they're like, outsmarted or toodaloo, sucker! Nice, yeah. It was just, an intense movie, pretty easy to watch, minus the dislikes, which I'm about to get into right now. So, obviously I've mentioned that, it took this movie a while to set everything up, but then glasses, after it's revealed that he's actually still alive, and that now suddenly he is the one that has superpowers. Now, granted, pretty much everything is just like Alice, but a little bit better, and is really, really close to what the Matrix movies are like. But there's a big difference between altering a computer program against injecting yourself with various viruses or blood and then expecting similar results. Just, huh? So, like, even though that was an intense fight, I can't help but think that, it just felt kind of odd to me. I don't get that, yeah. And then also, even though this was easy for me to watch, it didn't feel like the first three, but I think that was mainly because by this point, high-definition cameras have become a thing, so even though this movie looked pretty good on the TV, you can just tell that, technology had improved since then. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, this isn't something that you should complain about. Well, it was a different enough feel that I think it's worth pointing out, because, like, the third Hatchet movie, which starred Danielle Harris, although she didn't appear in actually the first Hatchet movie, that movie had a totally different feel than the first two. And then you probably won't know what I'm talking about, but the TV show Endurance, the sixth season had a way different feel than the first five. If you watch enough stuff, eventually you can tell differences in how things are shot. And this felt different, let me tell you. And then also, I realized that I simply just missed a scene where this occurred, but it's pretty easy to miss the fact that when, Alice is loading up her quarters into all those shotguns and stuff, because, like, I legitimately thought for the longest time that the Axeman, had his head filled with quarters or something when Alice shot him, but really that's the quarters impacting him and not all of them broke apart. And then also I want to talk about the Axeman real quick. Even though that was one heck of a good fight scene, and I was nervous for all the characters when he showed up, he just shows up. No origin is given to this supernatural character whatsoever, whereas every other origin character that we've encountered so far actually had one, so that was disappointing. Because, like, I'm used to there being a little bit of a justification, and this character just shows up, even though I'm sure that he's in the games. Like, you don't get something that detailed, just... yeah. So, as I said, the good stuff is good, but the bad stuff is bad, let me tell you. Oh yeah, I want to bring up Luther real fast. Them keeping him alive at the end of the movie, I'm not the hugest fan about that, because, like, he did mention, okay, that while they were crawling through that last tunnel, the zombies are close by. So them appearing and then grabbing him, I'm okay with that, because he had alluded to that possibility occurring. But the fact that he was actually able to survive that without getting scratched, I kind of find that hard to believe. Conversely, had you all, I don't know, had the tunnel just randomly collapsed, and then you reveal that at the end he's perfectly okay, I'd buy that. So I really wish they had done that. Alright? 3 out of 5, even though, as I said, the bad stuff is bad, the good stuff does somewhat make up for it. The keyword being somewhat. Oh, geez, that took a while. I gotta speed this up. So, Resident Evil Retribution. Oh my god, I did not like this movie. Just like, I honestly felt that it was a mess, to be honest, because, like, the big switch that Glasses does, claiming that suddenly he's on the good side and has broken away from the Umbrella Corporation because humanity has been too much reduced to nothing. Just, I found that ridiculously hard to believe, and I expected him to turn on everyone just like that, but he didn't. But there was still really not a good reason given for his surviving it and stuff like that. And then also, again, this movie didn't align with the previous movie that well, because yes, the Umbrella Corporation attacked the ship along with bringing back Jill, even though there's barely indication throughout this entire movie that Jill is, Jill. I think there's only a couple of subtle mentions that clue you in. So, I am kind of glad that you brought Jill back. It's just, oh yeah, they took her over. She didn't die, but then what happened to her after the second movie? Like, seriously, what happened? And it didn't even have to be Jill. They could have written Jill out and this movie would have been the exact same movie, let me tell you. And they don't explain what happened to Claire, k-mart, Chris. Just what? That was annoying. Okay. Although, it was kind of nice that they brought back Luther, but the funny thing was, while I was watching this, I didn't recognize that he was Luther. Seriously, I didn't. And I'm pretty sure they even mentioned his name once or twice in here. So that's bad. Although, it is my fault for not paying attention, but, yeah. That just got to me. And, okay, I am fully aware, that the vast majority of this movie takes place in a simulation complex, which Glasses indicated was perfectly free to make up mostly its own rules, but the zombies can use guns and vehicles? What? I am perfectly willing to buy that the villains, zombies, are smart enough to, climb stuff, or not just climb each other like they did in World War Z, but just, what? That is ridiculous. And just, that really annoyed me, along with the fact that the T-virus has, inhabited, like, other types of beings and altered them into something that was ridiculous. And then this idea that there's multiple realities in that simulation complex, like, having a good Michelle Rodriguez and a bad Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, like, the idea of Alice, confronting things from her past is interesting, but just, I just got overwhelmed by that, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And, like, the characters in here, like, I didn't care for them at all. I mean, like, I did feel a little bit sorry when Luther died, but that was it. It really didn't bother me that these characters were dying, other than Alice, and even then, not nearly as much as in the past few movies. I barely supported them. Just, yeah, that's bad. I was supporting the characters in every other movie, but this one just, yeah. And as I said in the last part, this movie had the exact same crew as Afterlife, so you did reasonable with Afterlife, and then you turn out this, which just did not work at all, if you ask me, even though I'm sure there's some people who really love this movie, let me tell you, but just... It was just like one bad thing after another. I just did not enjoy it. I was really hoping that this one would end. Now, granted, the end of the movie did give the idea that the next movie would be the last one, which I did like, but, I'm just looking at Glasses going, just, what's your motivation, buddy? Just, what is your motivation? And, like, how did Alice even end up in that facility? I'm sure somebody will explain that to me, but just... Yeah, just, this movie just had problem after problem after problem, if you ask me. Now, I know what you're thinking, what's a pro that I can give? Action scenes were fun, I did chuckle a few times. and it was nice to see familiar faces, but I would have rather this movie worked with meeting with the previous movie, because again, you could have added a little bit of dialogue and that would have helped explain a good amount of this situation. And like, how did Glasses find Luther? Yeah. Did not like this one. 2 out of 5 because it was worse than this.